welcome to a restorative yin-like prenatal yoga class. You can also practice this postnatal too. I actually kind of wrote this out and meant to film it about 38 weeks pregnant, but I never got around to filming. I was just so tired. But I'm excited to share it with you now, 4 months postpartum. We'll start seated, so gather, if you have a bolster, that is excellent, or like a nice thick pillow, maybe your pregnancy pillow, a nice blanket, a thick blanket, maybe some blocks if you have them, or anything that kind of helps you lift up a bit more. And we'll start in a seat. You go ahead and settle in either in hero pose or sukhasana. All right. And this is sort of like a yin practice. We won't be holding the poses as long as you would in a regular yin class. Normally those are held for 3 minutes or longer. Here will be about 1 to 3 minute holds. Starting with our seat. Get any fidgets or wiggles out of the way. Elevating the hips can help you sit comfortably. So don't be shy with your props. I would take all the bolsters possible. When I was pregnant, just made myself comfortable. And the intention today is all about surrendering. It's a very common theme in prenatal yoga and something I really struggled with sometimes, especially those final weeks, especially when you go over your due date. So that's what this practice is about. I want to share a quote as we settle in. Maybe you can start to close the eyes down. Find some height out of the crown of your head. So just so you can grow a bit taller. Lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then gently draw them down your back. You might do that little movement again. Squeeze them up, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then let them glide down behind you. Let the hands rest wherever, or maybe they're connecting onto baby. And you can take a moment here just checking in with your body, your space, your mind, wherever it is you've landed here. Mentally, emotionally, physically checking in. And check in with Bob. Maybe your Bob is physically here if you're postpartum, or you're just sensing sort of connection. And a lot of fostering that connection with baby is about imagination. Remember, when you're breathing in, you're not only breathing for yourself, you're breathing for your baby too. Together on this journey. Maybe you're going to become a mother for the first time, or it's another round of motherhood. You're welcoming another sibling for your child. And then we'll start to check in and count our breaths. You're welcome to continue just breathing in a way that's comfortable through the nose and out through the nose, or in through the nose, out through the mouth. Or if you're really blocked, just breathing through the mouth. You gotta keep breathing. So start with a deep breath in, and we'll exhale through the mouth. And then we'll have a count, an inhale of 4 and an exhale of 6. So this longer exhale helps us come into that state of rest and digest. Very good for the nervous system. Baby will pick on the calm energy. So going on with that breath, and I'll start to count. So take an inhale and a full exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue with this breath, and this is something you can carry on through the whole practice. And I'll be counting down the breaths in a few of these poses, or a majority of them, and this is the kind of breath count I'll be applying. So when I say 3 more breaths, you can count the breaths in and out. And while you're here, I want you to just bring awareness to your pelvic floor space. Notice if you're clenching here, or even clenching your buttocks, glutes, your belly, anywhere around this whole region. It all kind of cooperates together in the whole system. As you inhale, you might consider thinking of drawing in, the pelvic floor drawing in might be different to what you're used to, and lengthening through the spine. And when you exhale, let that energy escape through the pelvic floor. It's like that's opening, your yoni is opening like petals of a flower, and just feel it melt into your bolster. So you might play again with that 2 more times. As you inhale, you're drawing in. And you're softening as you exhale, opening the petals of the flower, feeling that release, that surrender. Another round like that. Drawing in, and exhale, fully soften, soften, soften. Creating that connection to those pathways, with your mind's thinking into your body, seeing that represented. Just have 3 more breaths here before we get moving on with our practice. I want to share the quote I mentioned before. I come across it in one of my journals, my diary I fill out when I'm pregnant. It's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. I think patience is something we need to surrender. Patience with our ego that wants to grasp and hang on to things, or get things done, or force the baby out. It's all about, working together as a team. So maybe you can just think of that as we're moving through this practice of patience to help surrender. So you can come off of your bolster. Hey, you might want to sit onto a blanket, a rolled up blanket, maybe to help elevate the hips just a little bit. We'll come into butterfly. You can also use blocks under the knees if it's not very comfortable to have the knees or they're really high, like so. You also might be able to use the bolster for a forward fold. So soles of feet together, might hang upright for a little bit. We'll be here about 3 breaths, or 3 minutes. More breaths than that. That'd be a very slow breath. So take a moment just to anchor and ground through sit bones, maybe get some wiggles out. Lengthen through the crown of the head. And you might start to bring yourself forward. So if you're pretty far along in your pregnancy, obviously forward folds aren't much of a fold really. This might be a lean forward, a tip forward. You want the pelvis to anteriorly tilt. Okay, so adding a little cushion or pillow underneath can help with that fold. So come into your depth, and your depth usually is about 70% in yin, but we're not going past that at all. So maybe start about 50%, or it could be less, already limited. Because we already have the relaxing working, we're not trying to push past where we were at before we became pregnant. And postpartum too, being a bit cautious as you're getting back into your body, especially if you're still breastfeeding, those hormones are still there. Maybe your forward fold is just to accentuate it more, shrugging the shoulders up towards the ears. Staying as you are, watching the breath flow in and out. We're over halfway in this fold, so if you do have a lot more space, feel free to go a little bit deeper. Adopt the pace of nature. Your secret is patience. About 3 more breaths, counting to 4, exhaling to 6. When you come out, take it slow, use your hands to help walk you up. You can windshield wiper the feet a little bit, the legs, so the feet flat, let the knees rock side to side. Okay, and then we'll set up for dragonfly, or wide-legged fold or straddle, but we'll start with little gentle twists. Not twisting deep, obviously, when you're pregnant. That's a movement that's limited, but you can take more of an open twist, focusing on the thoracic region or along the spine of the neck. Okay, so just get comfortable about 90 degrees or a bit wider if you have that range. Point and flex the toes a little bit, or give your legs a little shake. The whole body might want to. I find anytime you want to flow during this practice, that's good too. It gets you able to embody, especially in labor. When you are in labor, it's beautiful to move the body to help baby get to position and come down. And we'll start with a rotation towards the right leg. So you just kind of rotate the chest, the heart, towards the right leg. You can place the hands down either side of the thighs. And just find that position. You might draw your right shoulder further away. Okay, and then you might take your gaze over the right shoulder. Breathe all the way into belly to baby. 2 more breaths here. Maybe press into sit bones, lift up taller through crown of head. And then when you exhale, come back through the center, maybe shake it out, roll the shoulders, and we'll go to the other side. So over to the left, hands either side of the leg. Press the fingertips, the sit bones into the ground, lift up. Maybe you take your gaze over the shoulder, but you can just keep a neutral position for your head. Again, pressing and lifting up through crown of head. 2 more breaths. And then we'll come back through the center and start to fold towards the center. So you might feel the tip of the pelvis forward. Again, you can elevate the hips with a bolster. And I forgot to mention, the bolster can be nice just to hug for your forward fold. So you might just nestle into it and let your head rest on the bolster. If you have more range, you're going to be limited by your tummy. So it might be the only time your stomach can touch the floor in your wide-legged forward fold. And here, giving your mind something, to help come back into your body is that breath count. Staying in that stillness, adopting the patience. Breath flows in, tension flows out, seeing if maybe you have a little bit further range to go. Are there parts of your legs or your lower back holding on, especially around the adductors, that connecting all the way up into the pelvic floor? So you want to be able to soften this area. Same postpartum as well. There's a tendency for gripping, for compensating for areas of weakness in our pelvic floor. So just mentally remind it to soften. We'll take 3 more breaths here, starting with your inhale. And then we'll press ourselves up. You can windshield wiper the legs a bit, or just kick the feet a little, or wiggle the legs. Even straighten the legs out in front and tap the knees. Just to brush that energy out. You can even run your hands down your legs. And we'll come into double pigeon, but we'll start with a seated figure 4, and you can come along on that journey with me or stay positioned. We're going to start with our right leg on top. When we get to the forward fold, double pigeon looks like the shins stacked. I'll just show you this way. You can come into Sukhasana, so crossing the right leg on top and then doing the forward folds and everything. Okay, so we'll start with the right leg, the ankle on top of the knee, and you control how deep you go by just gliding the heel in or shimmying the butt to your heel. And you can kind of rock the leg a little bit, kind of lift up through the chest, draw the shoulders back. Check your breathing all the way into baby or to your belly. And you may stay here, or you can walk your left foot across your mat so that you can stack the shins. And often I'll take my hands on the outside foot in line with my top of the leg and the bottom foot in line. So you just line it up, like the name suggests, fire log often, double pigeon. And you can even press into your own body to help with this position. Here, you could be in square pose also, okay? So you can bring that foot in front of you, otherwise working into double pigeon. So you can kind of roll the flesh out to help, just with a personal assist. Even pressing into the back of where you find your hip bones and kind of tilting the pelvis forward. Okay, it might just be having the hands on the legs, or maybe they can perch in front of you. Depends on the space you have, how big that baby's getting. We'll stay for another 3 breaths. Even thinking about softening the sole of the foot. And we'll come out nice and slow. You might shake the legs out in front of you, or windshield wipers again, always a great release. And we'll have the left leg stacked on top this time. So ankle on top of the knee, walk that foot in close. Again, little rocks to kind of get acquainted with your leg, lifting up through the chest, getting into those tight hips. Or they might be pretty loose actually when you're pregnant, and that can cause some achiness in your hips. Your body preparing for the main event, right? We're incredible, aren't we? And start to lower or walk that foot across so you can stack the shins, and you can go ahead and line your feet up with the outside of your leg or the top of your leg. Okay, I'll face you. And again, you can do little personal adjustments and getting a feel of how it feels, or the touch that you like to receive can be beneficial. Eventually we'll come into a forward fold, or you might stay upright. I found I went to a birthing class or to help prep for labor, and my husband would practice like the gentle feather touch, the strokes, and it made me cringe. I like that firm pressure. So you can kind of play around with that here in this practice. So I invite you to kind of just get acquainted with what works. It's always, about that preparation. And these tools might be helpful postpartum as well. Being able to ask for help starts in, in labor, demanding what you need. Someone to look after bub, postpartum it looks like, or asking someone to bring you a meal, getting acquainted with asking for help. Okay, probably just about 3 more breaths here. And then you can release the legs however you see fit. Maybe it's that energetic sweep and flick. All right, and you'll make your way into a tabletop position. We'll do a couple rounds of cat-cow. Remember when you're pregnant, so hips are over the knees, shoulders over wrists. You're already getting a lot of arch of the spine. So you might want to just focus on length as you come into cow pose. Cat pose, go ahead and round the spine. Press the back of the heart up towards the ceiling, tuck the chin. Inhale, focus on that lengthening, draw shoulders back from ears, heart lifts. Exhale around. So go through 3 more rounds, and maybe going side to side or going in circles. I keep checking the camera in case the video stops. Beautiful. And you can stay here as we're working through our dragon sequence, or lots of lunges, getting into the legs, or you can come into downward dog to enter that. So I'll show you from down dog. Yeah, again, you can just drop the knees down to come forward. So we'll start with our right leg coming in between the hands, but it might come to the outside of the right hand when you are coming into your lunge. And here you could use a bolster under your hands. So the right leg forward, and you can walk the hands up to the knee. Okay, so this is for our baby dragon, or Anjaneyasana it looks like. And you can walk the foot forward a little bit. The toes can be untucked on the back leg, and if you need padding under the knee, maybe chuck a blanket under there. And these holds won't be more than a minute. Okay, so now we're settling in to our posture. Maybe you feel comfortable to have the arms overhead. Also watching if you're kind of collapsing to the spine, I want you to focus on lifting up. So lengthening through side body. Maybe lift baby from below so you have that little bit of support. Slow breath. Feel with that pressure of the front foot to help judge where you want to go. Maybe you sink the hips down, or you make it more active. 3 more breaths. And then it's dragon flying low, or what looks like lizard. So you can bring your hands to the inside of your front foot. With our right leg forward, I'll try to mirror you on the screen. So you can drop your hands onto blocks, maybe. That foot can go a little bit wider, heel toe to the side of your mat. I found here, so we're starting that minute hold. You can tuck the toes under the back knee and lift it up and then replace it. That we often hold lots of tension in the belly, so try to breathe into it and exhale, release it. Breath flows in, tension flows out. That became one of my mantras preparing for labor. My first experience of labor, I totally forgot how to breathe, and I really adopted that as a mantra, and using my breath to soften intensity, sensations. The breath is your friend. It helps the uterus to keep breathing, helps things keep flowing. All right, and we'll start to lift out of that. We'll come into half splits, so dragon splits. So just extend the front leg. You can use the blocks to help lift and create space. I found when I was pregnant, I preferred having both hands on the inside of my leg as I ran out of space. Otherwise, you can frame your leg if you find that's comfortable. Just focusing on the inhales and the exhales. or maybe your mantra, whatever your intention is. Spreading the toes wide on that foot and then letting them relax. So you're feeling that stretch in the hamstring, the back of the thigh here. Back hip stacked over the knee of your right leg. Just taking another round of breath. And we'll come into overstepping dragon. So let the foot come back in, and you come back to your lunge, but you start to let the knee track past the toes. So your toes will be hidden. You might even need to scooch forward a little bit more, and your heel might start to pick up. So we're getting into the Achilles. You'll notice this in down dog, a big difference. The knee tracking over the toes, and you're also getting a big stretch in the back, the hip flexor here, all the way up into the psoas. So to be gentle, maybe you need to stay a bit lower. Okay, that could be enough. Hands on blocks. Okay, we've got just under a minute left to go here. This is that pose where you do need a little bit of time to feel the effects of it. Soften the sensation with my breath. One more breath in, letting the breath go. And then you can lift up, come back to a downward dog, or maybe go into table first. You could kick the feet out just to release and come into down dog. That's where you started. Or take some cat-cows. In down dog, you might rise up to the toes and lower the heels. Maybe feel the difference of your right leg to your left leg. That could be a kind of relaxed down dog, so knees bent. And then we'll come forward with the left leg, starting with your baby dragon. So our little Anjaneyasana. Use your blocks to help position you, or that bolster, or maybe you use a stool. And then you pop your hands up onto the knee, holding this for a minute. So usually with that breath count, it could be about 6 breaths if you want to really count a minute. Softening your gaze might help you soften into this shape. We're over halfway. Taking one final breath in and out. And then it's our dragon flying low, okay, or lizard lunge. So you can heel toe the foot wide on your mat. And you can also walk the back leg behind you, tucking the toes, lifting the knee up for a moment, and then setting it back down. The hands could be on the blocks, lifting up the chest. You can use fists as well if your wrists feel a bit sore, supporting yourself that way. Soften into your tummy. Now when you're coming to that calm state, baby is getting settled too. It's picking up your energy. I'm just taking another round of breath before we come to dragon splits. Using your blocks to help you up, extending the front leg. Again, you can heel toe your foot to the inside of your blocks or keep it on the outside. All right. Take a moment just to lift the chest, lengthening the spine. You might just let the head relax, or you might Find a bit of range to fold. Slight bend of the knees okay as well. Toes flexing back, but not so aggressively holding it there. Allow it to soften. Toes spread and then relax. Continuing with that, inhale to 4, exhale to 6, 3 more breaths. About 2 more. And then it's starting to inch yourself forward into overstepping dragon, so the knee tracking past the toes, that heel wanting to float up, so you're in control of where you're at, just see what feels good. You can use blocks here, or maybe prop your hands on your knees. The extreme version is arms up. All right, just kind of whatever your practice was before. We're not really trying to change anything or progress, really. There's no progression. The progression in these poses is more surrendering. Patience here. Patience with your body evolving. Three more breaths. Feeling your body, these muscles, letting go. Further and further, deeper and deeper. And you'll come back into your down dog, or maybe moving through your cat-cows again. Maybe you're doing more of a side-to-side cat-cow, or even moving your heart in a circle, like so. All right, make sure you go in the same direction if you're doing that. Let's do about 2 more rounds. Switching sides if you need to. And here we're setting up for seal. Okay, this is optional. If seal is something you practice and you really miss it, I found I was able to practice this at 38 weeks pregnant. I'll show you the other option too, is puppy pose. So here, if you have a bolster, it can be nice to rest under your armpits. All right, hips are over knees. Okay, the chin can be resting on the bolster. You know, kind of touch it, playing around. Maybe the hands are up overhead, just kind of where you're holding your forearms here, or one forearm forward. And I'll let you know when we're halfway. Otherwise, you can come into seal. So being very careful if you are entering into that. Again, this is something if you're more experienced, you can come into. You could also use a bolster under the hips to help create more space for tummy, and you walk the hands further forward to decrease that pressure on your lower back. Okay, so it's more intense of a bend in the spine if you're more upright, and probably not where you need to go when you're pregnant. You already have that load causing that ramp or that arching when you have the baby growing in front of you. So up to 3, we're probably just another 2 minutes. I'll let you know when we're halfway. Actually looked at the time like 3 times and didn't even, register what was going on, but somewhere around 10 breaths, we're counting down. If you came into this pose and need to back out, feel free to do so, or change into puppy pose if you found that was too aggressive. Maybe you're around 5 breaths or less than that. I'll just let you know what our next pose is child's pose. if you're in seal, you kind of press into your hands. And engage the tummy muscles just to press up through table, and then the hips go back, toes together, knees wide. You can go ahead and sit onto your heels and then come into child's pose. So you might rest over that bolster again, just to release the lower back here. Right. You could be in a more upright kind of version of child's pose, like so. So just get creative, listen, make, be a queen. Comfort is queen. I heard that in one of my meditations from a teacher, I forget who. We'll take 3 more breaths in child's pose. Use your hands to lift you up. And keep the knees wide and just tuck your toes under. We're coming into a toe stretch. All right, so stretching up the soles of our feet. Those knees nice and wide. Again, if it's too much, just lift your hips up at any time or untuck the toes. This is a great opening for the soles of the feet. Your body's going through so many changes. And we'll bring our hands to prayer here for a little wrist stretch. Now bring the hands out forward, interlace the fingers, and then press the palms out. There you go. And then bring the arms up overhead. Relax shoulders. Watch if you've gone too far, if your ribs start to splay forward like that. So you want to keep it in. And then bring the hands down, change the overlap, the interlace, and then press out again, forward and up. And then letting the hands come down, untuck the toes. You can kick the feet a little bit. All right, and we'll set it for half butterfly or Janu Sirsasana. So the right leg long, left knee bent. Okay, and if you need a bit more space here, the foot doesn't have to be touching the inside of the thigh. All right, what we'll do is a little fold towards the middle. If you need a little twist to your bent knee, you can do that first. So it's a nice open twist. And then facing the middle again, so you'll fold to the inside of the knee and the extended leg. Again, in forward folds, if you want to use a bolster in front of you or elevate the hips to help with that tilt forward, to encourage that tilt, do so, or keep a nice long spine. And just kind of focus on those legs, releasing the adductors. We won't quite hold this a minute, about a minute and a half. Let the foot relax. Maybe the chin can top here. Feel in your lower back, QL muscles. Those real strong ones that kind of help your spine move. See if you can even take one hand to the side that your left leg is bent, to that part just around like where you feel the back of your hip bones. Take your hand there and just remind it to relax. So this is where you might feel more of the stretch. Maybe you don't so much, but sometimes having the hand there can help remind it to soften. And you can't physically breathe there, but you can mentally take your breath there. And it's one more breath here. You can bring the arm forward for that. And then we'll lift back up. Feel free to windshield wiper the legs. And then just switching sides. So left leg long. Before you fold, you might want to take a little twist towards the right leg. So both hands either side, just to help with a bit of rotation. And then facing the middle. start to fold towards the inside. So hands could be there as well. They're great props. Just see what muscles are holding on. Scan through your body. What can soften? Are you connecting to your breath? Maybe you take your right hand again to your lower back, to that right side, just to the side of your spine. And you might feel your breath move under your hands when you breathe deeply. Allowing that area to soften. Think of you letting your foot soften over here and along the inside of the thigh. Your inner thigh is relaxing. Even check in with your pelvic floor again. That's softening as you exhale. Just another round of breath here. Fully letting go. And then we'll come into windshield wipers with a twist. So I'll show you that facing the screen, okay? So feet flat. Go ahead and sway them side to side. So over to your right. The hip can pick up as well. The left hip will pick up. And then over to your left. So you might feel the right hip pick up. And then go back over to the right. And then take your left hand over to your right knee. And it's kind of like you're sitting in deer pose. All right? So the foot's kind of on top of the knee and the other foot's down. So they're both about 90 degrees. And the left hand can come to the right knee. And the other hand, the long right arm, can just help anchor you in there, lifting up through the crown of the head. Maybe you look over the shoulder. Breathe deep into your tummy. And then we'll come back the other way, so the hands come down, and then bring the knees over to your left side, and then take your right hand over to your left knee. And then your left hand is there helping you anchor in, lift up tall through crown of head and rotate, look over the left shoulder. And then come back through the middle. We'll come set up to our final resting posture, Shavasana. And for Shavasana, props are your friend. So you might start out in that upright butterfly, or you can go ahead and start on your side if that's where you're at right now, to set up your station. And you might need more blocks and pillows. I set up 2 blocks under my bolster like that, so you're elevated, you're not like laying fully down. You can also have a pillow like under your head. Okay, so I practiced lots of prenatal yoga. I got really familiar with my bolsters. So you can have feet together, knees wide for your relaxation, or you can have feet wide, knees knocked in, or just the feet long, whatever works. Use your hands to help you recline over the bolster, okay? And play around with where your hips are. Right, hands might be around your belly, or you can have your arms up overhead, holding on to the bolster just to stretch through the shoulders a little bit. You can stay here for about a minute and then go to your side, to your left side, preferably, okay? And you can support your head with a block or a pillow, or use a bolster under your leg. I'll show that position next. I'm just really comfortable right now. Remember, when you breathe, you're breathing for baby together. So I'll show you the side position. Often we use a block under my head and let your left shoulder arm thread through. And just have the hips stacked, and that right leg can rest on the bolster. Alright, maybe you kind of have the hand cradling your head. One hand can be on baby, perhaps as a way of physically connecting, which will help you start to mentally connect to baby. Again, coming into that connection. Sometimes I'd be going to prenatal classes and a teacher would say, connect to baby, and I didn't know what that really meant, but I think it's, a way of connecting for me is imagining it, I found. Imagining your future together. Maybe imagining what that moment is when you first meet, first gaze at each other. I think that is a beautiful place to come to visualize, what will that golden hour look like, or those first moments meeting baby? Will you sing to her or him? What will you say? They know your voice already, so it'll be matching your face to your voice, and won't even know what a face is, the baby. So I don't know, so many things to think about from their world. And the moment you're kissing their skin, maybe the moment you first feed them or working on their latch. What is it you visualize? The feel of them on the outside of you, and them hearing your heartbeat from the outside. Maybe here, just thinking of something, a doubt or something somebody's put on you that you wish to let go of. Any worries or regrets, or even as a mother, parts of your life that you miss but you no longer need. Change of pace. Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. You're welcome to stay here or you fall asleep wherever you are, have a nap. It's always good to catch up on sleep. No matter where you're at, pregnancy, insomnia, or baby waking up through the night. When you do come out from your left side, you want to be very gentle, or take yourself off of your bolster. You might press up and then come over to your side. Use your hands to help press yourself up, walking them in. You don't want to switch on your core muscles at all, and then come back to that seat. Hands can be on your knees, or maybe you want to have one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. Breathing in, letting go. Breath flows in, tension flows out. I wish you luck wherever you are in your journey. Let's draw our hands together, palms in front of your heart. In honor of this practice and of you, Mama, thank you for joining. Namaste.